Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Zhihong Yu, and I'm from the University of Nottingham. Today, I'm going to talk about our research project that aims to answer the following question: does the UK have too many foreign students? This question was, to a large extent, motivated by the fact that in the last 2 decades, there has been a rapid wave of globalization of UK's higher education sector, featured by the surge of the inflow of foreign students, especially those from China. As we can see from the following figure, that between 1996 to 2020, there has been an explosion of the number of the foreign students during this period. The number has risen from 140,000 in 1996 to around 500,000 in 2020, and corresponding the share of the foreign students in the total number of students has risen from 13% to a quarter. When we look into the composition of this dramatic increase, actually, this is to a large extent driven by the increase of Chinese students, represented by the yellow line. In 1996, the number of Chinese students is very small, actually it's below 1,000, but in 2020, the number has risen to around 100,000. But let's remember that in the future, this increase of Chinese students could be subject to political tensions between China and the UK. By contrast, the increase of the EU students has been stagnant over the last decade, as we can see from the green line, and this is even more likely to decline in future because of the Brexit. So as a result, the value of the UK's hydrogen export market, estimated by the Department of Education, is to be around 18 billion in 2019. So this includes the tuition fees by the foreign students, and also their non-tuition fee expenditures such as subsistence, accommodation, and also the expenditure income from the visitors, like their dependents. Another feature of the increasing foreign students is a large regional variation. As we can see from this map, that over time, from 1998 to 2019, overall there has been an increase of the exposure of foreign students for the regions, as measured by the number of students per 1,000 local residents, because then the color just becoming darker and darker. And also at the same time, as we can see that the variation of the colors is also massive across regions, meaning that the exposure is unevenly distributed across different local authorities. And this has also led to a very intense policy debates. As we can see that from the international education strategy published by Department of Trade and also Department of Education, they aim to increase the value of the total education export market to around 35 billion in 2030. And also for the UK's higher education sector, they aim to increase the number of international students to 600,000 by 2030. So this is quite clear goals by those two departments. But by contrast, our Prime Minister recently announced that they are considering to restrict the number of foreign students in order to curb migration. So clearly there's a contrast between the different government goals. So in this study, we would like to investigate the impacts of the increasing number of foreign students on local economies. Especially we focus on first on the value added and output, and also employment by the regions. Our data shows that the increasing exposure of the foreign students is associated with increasing regional GDP and employment growth, although the link with employment growth is relatively weak. And we also, the next step is to investigate the impact on housing market, because in the US, there is evidence that international students could increase the home price by 2.5%, which is equivalent to $4,000. We'd also like to look at if there is any productivity effects on the local authorities or regions, because the inflow of students can lead to increasing research by the universities and also their technology, which can spill over to regional local economies. Furthermore, there could be a negative impact in terms of the congestions on public service, such as public health and public schooling, but so far we do not have data on this. Furthermore, we would also like to investigate if what is the impact of foreign students on universities. And the first issue is whether there's crowding out effects, namely the increasing of foreign students has led to a decreasing number of domestic students or not. Previous studies using older data shows that there's no crowding out effects, but furthermore, there's even some evidence of cross-subsidizing, meaning that increasing number of foreign students can improve university finance, and in turn, this could increase the intake of domestic students. So this led to our next question about whether the foreign students could improve universities' financial health status by improving their short-term cash flow and also their long-term investment in infrastructure such as campus and buildings. Finally, we're also interested in whether the impact could be positive on universities' research effectiveness and power, because they bring in more fundings and also provide more talents, such as high-quality PhD students from foreign countries. So finally, we could consider the following question. Would you like to seek to cut the foreign student numbers if this could lead to some losses and costs to the university finance because of the loss of tuition fees and also the losses of the benefits of cross-subsidy and also research? Okay, so that's all for my talk, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you.